So who's going to be the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders? Well, anything can happen at the 12th hour, but I believe for all intents and purposes, Antonio Pierce will have the interim tag removed. It has to be Pierce, right? Okay, maybe it doesn't have to be, but if it isn't, why are they wasting so much time? You want to get that taken care of so you can get ahead of the offseason. Come on, all they've had is interviews with guys that aren't real candidates like Leslie Frazier and Chris Richard. Every NFL executive, player, and fan knows neither of those guys will get that job. Pierce is a known frontrunner out in the public, and I believe he should be. There are other guys out there with more experience, but Pierce is the best man for this team, and his very small NFL resume is pretty good. Jim Harbaugh was supposed to be a real candidate, but the Raiders have yet to even request an interview with him. There are parts of Raider Nation going crazy because they badly want to see him be the guy, but there isn't anything that shows that he or the Raiders are interested in getting together. Harbaugh's been interviewed by the Los Angeles Chargers and Atlanta Falcons while negotiating with Michigan. I have to wonder how serious he is about coming back to the NFL at this point. The Harbaugh talk has since started to die out though. Now there's talk of Tom Brady steering owner Mark Davidson to Mike Vrabel, a former teammate he's still very tight with. But again, where's the interview request for him? He interviewed with the Los Angeles Chargers today. The Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks are also looking to bring him in for an interview. I can't see why the Raiders would want to wait around if they're so interested in those guys. I've seen teams want to put out smoke screens throughout the years, but this is too long to wait to talk to a serious candidate, so I don't think they ever were. They got the Rooney Rule out the way, so I think we should be getting an announcement of Pierce pretty soon. When coaches are asked about their future with their team, they usually cheese up in some way, shape, or form. They often refuse to answer the question because most of the time in the NFL, if the media is asking you a question about your future with the team, you don't have one. When they do go ahead and answer, it's something like, I am the head coach of this team until they tell me I'm not. But an interim head coach, they really can't answer the question because they have no clue. The team usually starts looking for a new head coach as soon as the interim head coach gets the job, so he's not counting on anything. Pierce has been a little different since right after the season finale, though. He's so confident. Is he delusional or does he know something? I'll just say this. Pierce seems to know, and it's more than being the front runner. In the locker room after the season finale, I noticed at the end of the speech he said, we'll run it back. That means we'll do it again with the same core of people. Then a few days ago at the Martin Luther King parade, he said, it's a dream. I'm not going to pinch myself until it's official. As far as Pierce's tiny NFL resume goes, I'll say so far so good. Taking a dysfunctional 3-5 team and going 5-4 with it is no small task. The first thing he did was reestablish the Raiders' identity as a physical, violent team. And while he raised the team's morale and has them playing inspired football, he's not just a big hype man and cheerleader. Pierce was smart enough to make some changes that made the Raiders a much better team in the second half of the season. On offense, he made a change at the quarterback position, taking a chance on Aiden O'Connell, a rookie 4th-round pick, and it worked out. The Raiders actually scored 20 points or more multiple times. Pierce got the ball to superstar receiver Davante Adams more, and he got speedy receiver Trey Tucker more involved in the offense. On defense, he had Champ Kelly pick up corner Jack Jones. At first, I thought he was just a kid that Pierce knew, but he turned out to be much more. He also gave edge rusher Malcolm Kuntz an opportunity, and he rewarded the Raiders with 8 sacks. Kicking first-round pick Tyree Wilson inside looks like another good move. Are there things that Pierce needs to learn being a head coach? Absolutely, but he has what it takes to be a head coach, and he's by far the best candidate for this Raider team, so he's the right call. Harbaugh and Vrabel have the experience and extensive resumes, but Pierce has the players, meaning we already know he works well with them. As good as Vrabel and Harbaugh are, we don't know exactly how they'd be with this team. We know they would run through any wall or any player for Pierce, and that's how they became so physical all of a sudden. They love Pierce. Superstar edge rusher Max Crosby talked about the possibility of seeking a trade if Pierce doesn't get the job. Here's the thing about that. All we heard is what Crosby said. Do you think he's the only player that feels this way? Do you think the other stars on the team don't agree with them? Football is the most emotional sport in the world, and love is the most powerful emotion, and the players love Pierce. Of course, you don't just go hire a head coach because the team loves him. It's about much more than that, though. That's why he went 5-4 with the 3-5 team. Many of you that want Pierce to be the head coach of the Raiders are panicking because it's taking a long time to announce it. To that I say do not worry. The longer it takes, the more likely it is Pierce gets it. They haven't even tried to interview the top candidates. You don't want to wait this long for them. those guys get snatched up, but you're not worried about that if you already have a plan in place, and I'm sure the Raiders do. They haven't even asked to talk to one of the top candidates. And for those of you that don't think Pierce can get it done because of his experience level, stop it. He's a leader of men that only needs a good offensive coordinator and a good quarterback. Thank you for watching. See you next time.